All right, compadres. Hello, loves. You have numero uno today. You have me solely. I feel like I want to say I'm sorry because I know you all love Morgan and his banter and humor so much. However, this is absolutely one that I needed to do solo because it is my zone of genius. Now, I put a post about this up the other day. You know what it's about because I put it as the title. So it's about scheduling. We are going to have a chat about scheduling. And I'm going to try and be as quick as I can because that's the whole point of it, right? I know you guys are very time poor. Everybody's busy. I so get that. So I want to start by saying, of course, like I said, I had a post up the other day where I said that I sincerely have absolutely no natural ability, none. But other than passion and radical consistency, one, as I said, zone of genius for me is actually this particular topic. Now, for my human design friends that may already have switched off because whatever their design doesn't energetically support scheduling or whatever your story is around that, please know that I am a projector. And so if I had $1, honestly, for every message that I got from a beautiful woman that's interested in human design, asking me when they watch me throughout my day, when I show up on my Instagram stories, what are you? Because I do get a lot done and I have a lot of energy, and I am going to share with you the 7 tips on exactly what I do, exactly how I show up for my schedule, both energetically. I'm going to take you on a bit of a woo ride, and also with the systems that I use, which I hope are going to help you a lot. So let us dive in. There's 7 tips. And the very first one that I want to kick off on with is this. Beautiful. I don't know, and I am talking to the mums. Sorry, fellas, stay on by all means if you're listening, but I am absolutely talking to the females because I know, say, I'm going to go the Pareto rule, 80-20. I'm going to just say like 80% of you right now are listening and you've already maybe had that story creep up in your mind that, yeah, but she's not a mum, so she doesn't get it. Which I get because I'm not a mum, so I do get it. Or maybe your story is, I don't know, I'm not even going to assume. I don't assume. So whatever your story is around this, actually I want to say these ones. If your story is, I'm just really bad with time, or you know what, I just cannot keep a schedule. I've tried everything, Anna. Schedules and I don't work. The number one piece of advice I'm kicking off in terms of scheduling tips, tricks, and advice is actually to drop the story. To drop any story that you have around not being good with organizational time, kids included. My mum was a mum of 5. She's my shiro. She's a superwoman. And I remember often my terrible stepfather would just decide to not work, and so it would make mum the main breadwinner. And I just remember watching mum do anything and everything that she had to do to survive, essentially. So she was a mum of 5. I still remember as a child waking up in government housing, so Homes West homes. But I remember waking up at like 6 o'clock in the morning and going out and like all the breakfast stuff was still laid out. Like my mum was like the greatest mum on earth, a mother. But she also, started to work. She'd have to do certain jobs. She did network marketing as well, which I love, which I never actually clued onto literally until I started doing it. So yeah, I'm just saying, if you're a mum, I get it. I see you. I feel you, but I want you to drop that story. You are Wonder Woman, you are superheroes, and you've got this. And that story that the kids run your life and all the things, it doesn't serve you anymore. And so if you do want to play bigger, be bolder, show up more, start that side hustle, find more motivation, whatever it is for you, whatever that thing is that you want in your life, but you're not getting it because you're not working towards it, because your scheduling's off or whatever, time management's really poor, drop that story. Capiche? I'm just going to give you a minute to drop it. Doesn't that feel lighter already though? Like, Okay, so that's number one. We've gotten rid of that. Beautiful. Number two, I'm just going to welcome you in on the little woo ride for a little minute. So 5 years ago, I read this book for the very first time, The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. In it, there's a chapter on time. Now, I just put a post up on top 10 books that have changed my life. That is listed as one. So just shouting that book out again. If you've never read it, read it. But there's a chapter on time in it. And there was a line, it was so minute in the chapter on time, almost throwaway. But it literally transformed my entire life. And it was that, so this is tip number 2. Know we come from where time comes from. Now, this is science. This is actual like quantum physics, Einstein time, space-time continuum, law of relativity kind of shit. This is not me, like I say woo because I think that statement sounds quite woo, but this is actually quantifiable physics. The space-time continuum, we come from where time comes from. Now, I want to woo that up a little bit and just say, to me, I'm always like, I am cosmic stardust. Like, we are made of the same magnificence of the universe. Cells, trillions of cells, and atomics. You can tell I flunked science class. Atoms, that's the word. I'm like, oh shit, what's the word? Atoms. So we are made up of the same magic stardust as the universe itself, but we also come from where time comes from. So the moment that you start to stop making time separate from you, I know this sounds effing wild, but just stay with me. So the moment that you can stop feeling like time is separate to you and it controls you, and the time on your phone and the time on your watch and the time on your computer has to control how you live and how much time that you have, the moment you can let that go, which is Newtonian time, and accept Einstein time of space-time continuum, that we are actually from where time comes from. So we control it. It does not control us. So that's step number 2. Now, if you want to dive deeper into that, go and get the book. It's a chapter right at the end. I don't even know. It's the chapter on time, but read the whole book. But he goes into it a lot more. But that fundamentally changed everything about the way that I look at time. I get more done in less time now than ever, and I have for years. So I don't think, like I always say, I work smarter, not harder, but I just so believe that I know that I come from where time comes from, so I control it. So I'm going to leave that one there. Number 3, and this tip alone will be a podcast episode I do a whole episode on. It is alone will change your life. It not can change your life. It will change your life, but it's having a morning routine. Now, mums, I'm just going to start with you straight away. Lots of you, I hear from you all day, be it in my own team or just on Instagram, how it's like, Anna, you don't understand. I've got 3 kids. They wake up really early. I get it. I do, because I speak to more mums than you would, you listening, any day of the week. So I get it. I've heard every excuse under the sun and some reasons, but mostly excuses. But I always say, you've got 10 minutes. Now, if you don't have 10 minutes in the morning, new mothers, different, right? We're putting them aside. I'm talking for 2-year-olds and above. If you don't have 10 minutes in 24 hours, specifically 10 minutes in the first couple of hours in your morning, you don't have a life. And that's a whole other podcast we need to talk about, because we need to get your life back, okay? So don't hold on to that story like, no, I don't have time. Well, honey, if you don't have 10 minutes, you don't have a life, and that's not okay. So, but we've dropped that story, right? We understand now, like the story is we have time, we're from where time comes from, and I'm going to create a morning routine. So if you only have mamas 10 minutes in the morning, that is beautiful and perfect and enough. It does not need to be perfect. It just needs to be done. And the reason why I put this right at the front, so I know we're talking about scheduling. It's like, shit, Anna, when are you going to get to the juice of like what you actually do? And I'm going to get there. This is all so important, because this is all the parameters of how I show up so on time, with so much energy, with so much constant ferocity and fire, it's because I have a morning routine. So nobody touches me. The world does not touch me until I touch myself, until I give back to myself. So I give nothing to the world until I fundamentally give back to myself first. Now, I know we did a podcast, I think it was on the relationship advice, where I said this before, but I will say it on every episode if I can, especially to you ladies. You have to prioritize yourself because nobody is going to prioritize you. You have to prioritize yourself. So that comes in the form of a morning routine. Doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done. If you have 10 minutes, I always say focus on the 3 core ethoses that I live by. I live by 6, but the 3 main ones that set your entire life up are eating like you love yourself, moving like you love yourself, and thinking like you love yourself. So moving, again, if you've got a 2-year-old that you're trying to wrangle and a 6-year-old screaming for, Wheat Bix or whatever, if you can just go to bed that 10 minutes early because you know that sleep is life-changing, you know that. Netflix can wait, your phone can wait, and you can just set that timer for alarm for 10 minutes early, knowing before the kids wake up. Do 6 minutes. That's all you need. 6 minutes, not even 10. 2 minutes of stretching, like 2 minutes of intentional sending love to your body, taking a breath before the world needs anything from you. 2 minutes of stretching your body. 2 minutes of reading something positive and uplifting. It could be a book. If you don't have a book on hand, get something ready on your phone, get some quotes ready, write a note to yourself, write a script for your life of how you want it to look and who you want to be. Read that for 2 minutes. And then eat like you love yourself. Obviously, you can blitz a smoothie. You can, but the thing I always say to mums is just have a big glass of water. That's enough, right? You can have a big glass of water, keep it by your bed. 6 minutes, that's all you need. Life-changing, morning routine, done. If you are not a mum and you have more time, then this is like the greatest form of self-care that I ever give to myself 7 days of the week, 365 days of the year, even on Christmas, and Christmas is my favorite day. So have a morning routine. And again, if you have more time, beautiful, craft out a stunning routine that feels right for you. I'm not going to tell you what to do. Meditate or don't. Journal or don't. Go for a run or don't. Stretch your body. Just as long as you have a morning routine that you prioritize yourself and give to yourself first before the world tries to take from you, when you go to, I was going to say attack, I don't like that word, but when you go to show up for your schedule, then your life will change because you really do give from your overflow. So that's why I always say morning routines are so important when it comes to scheduling, because then when I sit down and I look at my schedule for the day and it's full of chaos and just calls upon calls, which I love, and coaching and Zooms and content creation and writing and all the things around the world, then I know that they're getting my overflow. Okay, number 4. Super powerful, but not enough do it. Set radical boundaries unapologetically. So this one is a really big one. I always say, self-love is setting boundaries. Self-care is having a morning routine. Self-love is setting the boundaries that no one can touch you or take from you before you give to yourself. So that also goes into your day though. So for me, my boundaries are I don't answer the phone. Monday to Friday, if you have not booked a call and you try to call, look, I'll try and squeeze it in. If I'm free, I absolutely can get it. If I want to, if I'm free. But my schedule is my boss. And if I've got gaps in my day where I'm not, because you've seen me replying to a message or something, so it's like, oh, she's free. I'm not. I'm probably definitely in my inbox scheduled time where I'm replying to my customers and my leaders, doing work. So I have the most strictest, unapologetic boundaries that, and I know my mum listens to all of my podcasts. Hi, Mum. That even my mum beautifully respects. So she knows. She's like, sweetheart, no, I won't call you, but we'll chat on Messenger, for example. But then when I call Mum, I get to have a really deep, present conversation because I'm not feeling pulled and rushed and stressed and jumping off onto the next thing. It's like, hey, I'm here. Let's chat. Because I've got my boundaries. So I know exactly where I need to be. I know exactly what I need to be doing, and I know what cannot interrupt me. Now, I know for a lot of you right now working from home, and you've listened to that episode, hopefully, go back if you haven't, that obviously other people are working from home. So maybe more people are calling you during the day, or maybe more people are rocking up, not Victoria sadly, but if you're anywhere else in Australia, maybe people are popping over, and maybe that is something that you literally just sat down to do some work on your side hustle, or you actually just had some breath in your day to have a cup of tea and do some journaling, and the doorbell rings and someone's like unexpectedly pop round. Like, you need to set such strict boundaries that people know not to do that. And I know this sounds crazy because it's like, Anna, you always talk about how relationships are the most important thing in life, and they are, but you're allowed to have boundaries with them. You're allowed to want to show up to your schedule and get shit done productively, powerfully, on purpose, without interruption and without being pulled on other people's schedules because you don't have boundaries. So set your radical boundaries, and then don't explain them away. I'm not like, oh, sorry, I couldn't get you called. I'm like, hey, I'll call you later, or I've got my booking schedule, which I'm going to get to. I'll send it to you, not to my mum, but I'm just saying typically that is absolutely what I do all the time. So set radical boundaries. All right. Let's get into the juice and the guts of it in terms of systems. So I always say 2 core things, and then I'm going to do my final tip. But number 5, I should say, sorry, but the system that I use is an electronic diary on my phone and on my laptop. Now, before you message me and say, what is it? Which one do you use? Nothing fancy. I just literally I have an iMac and an iPhone, and so I just use the Apple Calendar that's on my laptop and my iMac and my iPhone, and they all sync up. So, and if you're someone that's really like, oh, fuck, you've already lost me because I'm really tech challenged and I've tried to do that, sync it and do all the things, because if I set something in my laptop, obviously it then populates the calendar, but if I'm on my iMac, it's there. If I'm on my phone, it's there. If that's something that you could only dream of, and I don't know, Morgs admittedly set all that up, book an appointment at the Apple Store. Go into the Apple Store and they will help that. That is a priority time thing to schedule in, because it will change your life when you've got a system like that in place. So paper versus electronic, I don't care what you use. I just care that you use one. Do whatever you're going to use the most. Now, I love electronic. I'm electronic's biggest ambassador because my schedule is my boss. So I like my boss or PA to alert me when I'm in work mode. When I'm not in work mode, that sucker is on Sundays, that phone is in the bedroom. But when I'm in work mode, I'm on call back to back to back to back. And say I've gotten away because we're deep in conversation or I'm deep in coaching, my iMac or my iPhone say, but typically iMac, buzzes. So the little drop down pops up and it's like Sally Smith connect call in 5 minutes. I always set an alert 5 minutes before. And I go, oh gosh, Sally, our time's coming to a close here. Let's wrap things up. I've got another call in 5 minutes. So it just keeps me on. It's my PA. My calendar is my PA and my boss, all wrapped up into one. So schedule it in. So how that looks, I'm going to quickly go through it. In a week, and mamas, I'm going to get to you, but I just want to speak to everyone first and then I'm going to zone in on you. In a week, every single Sunday, again, doesn't matter when you do it, just pick a day, pick a time. On a Sunday, I sit down, takes me 5 minutes now. I look at my week ahead. Often for all of us, lots of things are scheduled weeks before for that week. But typically I will look at my calendar and go, okay, what have I got the week ahead? So I look at it, I'm like, oh yeah, God, I've got a big week ahead. Oh, awesome. I've actually got quite a chill week ahead until I populate it. But I'll look at it and I'll go, okay, get my head in the game. Perfect. That's kind of what my week ahead looks like. Perfect. Then I look for all of my white gaps, which is plentiful or not. And I will then go, okay, here's the projects I know in my head I want to launch or start or get started on, or I know I really want to, I'm going to launch a, campaign for the team. I need to do that this week. So I go through the calendar and I block out chunks of time. So I look for the white space and I go, perfect. On Monday, God, I've got a 90-minute gap there. I'm just going to sit at my desk and I'm going to get that whole campaign created and done. So I'll block out, admin, create shine campaign for team, And then I'll go, okay, and then I really needed to, this is all work stuff for me, okay? It might be I need to clear my inbox because I've got lots of important emails in my thing. So I'm going to go, Monday at 10 a.m., there's a gap there. I'm going to block it out. And what happens is if you put those blocks in your calendar, even if it's not pursuant to someone else, so it's like it's not a biz call or a biz meeting, you're accountable to yourself. And it will buzz, and often, even half the time, 5 times out of 10, I might have forgotten that because I'm busy in flow in something else. My calendar will remind me and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to start on that. I said I would. I know because I'm structured and I'm scheduled that I don't have time now in the rest of the week. So if I don't sit and get it done now, then I am not going to get it done. So I sit and I get it done. So that's why I love electronic as well. And Morgs then has access to the calendar. He puts his stuff in. I'll put my stuff in. If Morgs wants to go shopping with me, he'll put something in. Fridays, I turn my calendar off. Now I'm like, I work for myself. This is crazy. I want to have my Fridays back. So I actually turn my calendar off. No one gets access to me on a Friday. I still work, but I play catch up. So I might do content creation, podcast recordings. I might do admin work. I might write. No one has access to me though. People can't call me. I'm not coaching, and it's bliss for me. So again, find your bliss within your schedule, but schedule it in. And then this is the powerful thing. So, mums first, mums. And again, obviously this podcast is for people. I think I said this at the start, but please know this is obviously a podcast or an episode for people that want more from life, have more, start the side hustle, find the motivation, get that promotion at work. So they need to put in some more effort and things. It's for you. So obviously if you're just an amazing mum kicking it and you're happy where you're at, this isn't an episode for you. If you're working full time and you don't even want to start a side hustle, this isn't for you. But mums and others, if you are wanting to do and have more and fit more, actually do less but have more of an impact, then it's absolutely for you. So what I then do, so mums first. So I want you to know as a mum, if you are also then wanting to start a side hustle, any side hustle, my best friend Rose has a phenomenal clothing brand. I'm going to put it in the show notes because I forget. Oh my gosh, brain fart. But for example, so I'm not even saying network marketing. I'm saying any kind of product brand, then you need to schedule. So I always say if you are a mum though and you're going to suffer with mum guilt, which is innate to mothers, when the kids are awake, be with the kids. If that is your DMO, if you're like, you don't understand, I have to be present with my children, of course. Be present with your children. But your kids wake up at a certain time and you know that. They go to bed when you tell them to go to bed, right? Typically, I know they come out 100 times wanting water and to solve the world problems. But typically say their bedtime's 7, but say you have to F around for an hour. So say, right, this is the level of like legitimacy I'm trying to give to you. From 6 a.m. until 8 o'clock, your calendar is blocked out with kids. That is kid time. Block it out. No one gets to touch that. No calls, not 3-way calls, not Zoom calls, not coaching calls. Say that is kid time and honor that. And wear that mum hat with pride and presence and love and no guilt, because that is the time, say you want a mum. I definitely am going to want, I'm definitely going to want to have assistants during the day, or they will go to daycare, and I will still want a boss mum also. So, but say that, then say you get 6 to 8 hours, which is what you really need. And even if it's broken, I get it, but say 6 to 8 hours. Okay. Let's give you 6. Let's give you 8, right? In a perfect world. So what's that? 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. is 14 hours, and then say you had 8 hours. You still got 3 hours. 3 hours. 3 powerful hours in a day, and say you did that over a week. That's 21 hours. You give me a mother with 21 hours that say wants to build in my team, I will give you a financial success story fact. And you don't even need that much time. 10 is enough for me, right? So this is what I'm trying to say. Even if you have to mum for 14 hours a day, I know it's 24 hours a day, I'm just saying, even if you have to be present for that long, then you have to sleep for 8, broken or not. You still have, I think my maths is right. Oh no, hang on, 14, 8, 6, 22. You got 2 hours a day. So you got 2 hours a day, which is freaking phenomenal. 2 times 7, 14 hours. Brilliant. Like I said, I would need 10, right? So just know, I wanted to just say, like, please, if you're a mum that's playing along, do not think that being a mum, be it 1 kid to 5 kids, be it you have no time, you have no help, you still have so much potential and possibility that you can create with those even 2 hours in a day. If it's focused, the television's off, and you're lasered in on what you're creating and where you want to go. Okay, so schedule it in. Now, for me, I obviously don't have kids and I build our business full time. So I then, and this is another huge one, especially if you're in network marketing, guys, or you're building a side hustle, okay, but you're coaching people. If you're coaching people, get an online booking system. Now, I use Calendly. I love Calendly. So Calendly, Calendly. And I have links. So I have my own, I pay for it. I think it's a minute amount because I needed more links, obviously. Bigger business and more kind of calls that I have to do. So I pay a minute amount a month, and that changed my life and my business. Because what happens is people don't come to me to ask to book a call. They know that they can click the link for whatever call they want. They might want a 3-way coaching call. They might want a connect call. They might want to do a consultation call with me. I've got them if you ever want one to take a look if you want to work with me. There are the podcast interviews. I've got so many calls on there. Connect calls, I think I said that. So there's a link and you click that link, that page loads and you can see it all and you're like, okay, well, I want the consultation call, or I'm a podcast guest, so I need to book the interview. I am a brand new customer and I'm going to book my connect call. And so they click that link and what happens is a calendar loads. It's freaking life-changing. If you already know this, amazing. But if you're not using it sternly enough, let this be your pep talk. So I set the times that I'm available. And this is what I love. So I am not on anybody else's time with this. I set the time for each of those calls and I'm available a lot. So I'm available technically a lot. So 12 till 6 a day. So 6 hours. And people say to me, oh, but Anna, aren't you scared then that you're going to miss out on people because they're not available? Let me tell you, and this is going to be my final point. When you respect your time, other people respect your time. If I want to book a call with someone, I'm like, oh my God, I really need it and want to speak to that person, and they only have set times and I have to fit into those times, damn right I find a time every time. You do too, right? So my calendar then opens up between 12 and 6, now 4 days a week. Friday I took back. And then people can book for 6, 12, 8, 24 hours a week. You can book my time. So you can book coaching calls, connect calls, consultation calls, podcast interview calls, whatever it is. But ultimately, if things pop up within that, so if Sally books the 30-minute connect call, well then when Rebecca clicks on the link, that time's gone. So she has to pick from the list. It's just brilliant. So it's this booking system that they go into. When it's confirmed, it's all automated. They get sent an email like, hi, I wrote it. It's like, hey, beautiful. Thanks for booking the call. Here's the Zoom link. I will see you on Tuesday at whatever, because it's all populated. I send nothing. And all that happens is my phone buzzes and I'm like, oh, perfect. Tuesday at 2:30, I've got a call with Rebecca. Perfect. And it will say what it is, connect call, consultation call, 3-way call, whatever it is. And then if they want to change it, they have the link to change it. So that link where it booked on, they'll click it, they update it, and it will update. And again, it's no skin off my nose. It does not matter because I've given them the time that I am happy and comfortable with in my diary for them to book me. And then that it works in with their schedule and their timelines, because then they're like, oh, well, 2:30 on Wednesday, that's perfect. Little Steven's asleep, so I can book it in his nap time. So it's just this beautiful dance of you having complete autonomy and control over your own time within your schedule when it comes to coaching and calls and everything like that. but also it allows them autonomy, and it's great for them because then they are in control of booking the time they want, but within your parameters and schedule. So that's 6 out of 7. And the final one, I've already touched on it, is respect your time and people will respect it. Scheduling, I cannot tell you. So this is the number one thing I always say. And I did a whole story and post on this the other day, but it's all about if you respect yourself, this is just like a whole life chat. If you respect yourself, other people will respect you. If you respect your time, other people will respect your time. If you respect your boundaries unapologetically, people will respect your boundaries. But if you are not respecting your time, if you have listened to this and you're so excited and you're like, holy shit, I am where time come from. I'm going to start my 6-minute if I have to, or 1 hour morning routine. I'm going to drop my stories. I'm going to set radical boundaries. I'm going to schedule it in, and I'm going to get this booking system. So I just have so much clarity and autonomy. But then you just keep letting people ring you off the hook. You let people drop around. You start to complain again saying, oh my God, I don't have time. I have no time. Well, then you're not respecting your time. You are absolutely not respecting your time. So why will time respect it, or why will people respect it? So the last thing I wanted to tie this off with in a beautiful bow is just that: respect your time and people will respect it. And I hope, it sounds like a lot, but it is so honestly simplistic and such a beautiful, simple system, more so energetically than anything. The only 2 core things that I have in terms of tangible systems, essentially, I've said that, but is the scheduling it in and getting an online booking system. The rest is radical boundaries, respecting your time, dropping the story, having the morning routine, and knowing that you come from where time comes from. So it's actually more mindset work than it is systems. But when you can tie both together, get that mindset right, or with everything I've just helped you with, but also then get that system of schedule that works for you, magic will occur. All right, guys, I hope that I served you with that. I would love feedback. If you've listened, tag me on Instagram. Tell me what you took away from it. I always love to see it, engage in conversation with you, and of course, reshare it. And until next